So I think it was a very inspiring presentation, what we've heard from Maggie Lee, and what she has been working on it and being loyal. Fistia, she explained a bit and see a bit what's going on onto the whole life, particularly on the circle that they've prepared so far. So I guess for my presentation, probably it's a nice hook on to Maggie's presentation that I just wanted to share a bit with the audience, a bit what we have been done, a kind of the practicality point of view towards sustainability with our company. So maybe just brief introduction who we are. So as Hotels and Resorts PLC, we are a public listed company on the SCT in Thailand. We are a fast growing holding company that engages in management of hotels and resorts and investments in international locations. So today we have about 39 properties, and we are what we call in the most desirable global destinations worldwide. It's very much in our DNA, in the company's philosophy of sustainable development. So we're taking that quite up to the next level, whereby we carrying out a lot of various corporate social responsibility projects, and very much into our resorts that we having. PP, Koh Samui, Maldives, Fiji, Mauritius. So that's a bit of the platform and the space that we are taking up. Our framework and strategy towards sustainability, and I think it leans a bit onto what Maggie was mentioning earlier. We're very much geared and following the UN SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. There's quite a bit of them. So we had a bit of, not a challenge, but it's always a bit of a challenge. It's interesting to pick and choose which one you want to follow, as there are so many for them. But we really said, let's focus on one, let's specialize into that one and make sure that we're doing it right. So we were really working on the SDG 14, which is very much towards life below water. What we are really doing is educating local communities. We engage with universities. We're really partnering up with schools, and also our guests, obviously, about the importance of conservations, and very much geared towards, we call it the 3 R's. It's about reducing, reusing, and recycling. So that's very much, these projects are geared by the management itself at property level from the hotels. And that's in collaborations with Sing Estate Sustainable Development. Sing Estate being our parent company, and obviously very strong driven towards sustainability in all the projects that they have been executing. So briefly on our projects, what we came up with. So it was an initiative from the properties itself for saying, what can we do at property level that we would engage all these partners that I mentioned before to be aware and what they can contribute to the environment while staying in a hotel. So we developed the MDCs, we call it, the Marine Discovery Centre, and the first one was built on PP Island in the south of Thailand. What it actually is, it is managed by a highly qualified resident marine biologist. So it's not really our employees. We do have of them who have shown a keen interest in sustainability projects, and we have been training and developing them. But very much it is headed by marine biologists. So they are the experts, they know what is going on, and we really want to do it right in that respect. It is very much a wide range of interactive exhibits and educational displays, really explaining the life cycles and habits of the unique marine species endemic to the region. What we're having is aquariums PP model. It's a 3D display. Now the PP model is not something that we invented, but this is very much geared with local universities and also with the National Park. I believe this afternoon, Dr. Ton is one of the speakers in one of the sessions, and he will elaborate a little bit more onto the PP model, which is quite uniquely designed. And it refers a bit what we heard a bit on the circular elements, what Maggie was mentioning about, and I could see that PP definitely fits into that whole model. There's a clownfish room, the Nemos as we call them. There's a lot of coral propagation programs that we are putting in there. So a lot of fish tanks, nursery pools, so make it highly educating and highly entertaining at the same time. that I guess can take something away from the whole project. So we saw that was quite successful, the project in PP. It is also free for the resort guests, so there is no admission fee or anything like that. And again, this is kind of our contribution to sustainability points that we wanted to make it as educative as possible. We went into the Maldives 2 years ago with our CROSSROADS projects, and at the same time, we've decided to build or to copy, but maybe make it a little bit more extensive into the Maldives with our Marine Discovery Centre and the Maldives Discovery Centre. It has a bit of a different edge to it. It has very much the design features that we've built up there. We've engaged a professional company from the UK who are specialized in designing and building museums. So to that extent that we took it very seriously, the way we wanted to build it, that we have the right approach, and that it's looking quite unique and distinct into that perspective. So this place is very featuring typical life cycles of marine debris. And again, the three R's that we've mentioned earlier on reducing, reusing, and recycling. There is a marine biology lab that takes up quite a prominent spot into the center as well. And that very much is nurturing corals and preparing them for an introduction to the sea. There's a lot of interactive activities, tuna discovery, scuba diving, the coral nursery exploration, the coral propagation, and I'm sure everybody heard about that one, and also a clownfish releasing program. So I would kind of say it's a bit of a think tank for further conservation measures to improve the biological diversity into our ecosystem. That's the first component, which is the Marine Discovery Centre. The Maldives Discovery Centre, and everybody knows if we talk about Maldives, it's all about life below water. However, there's little information about the Maldivian people. Historically, the way they're adapting to their environment, what they are doing towards their own sustainability and protecting their environment. So we decided to include as well that part into the center, which we called the Maldives Discovery Centre. And that very much explores the rich history of the Maldives, displays about local handicrafts, artwork, and that forms part of the Maldives' unique cultural identity. So it is a blend about below water and also about above water on the Maldives side for the Maldivians. The approaches we have, they are very much free to enter learning zones, and that really shows a bit the introduction to the SD initiatives. Marine waste management, which we've heard from Maggie Lee before, that it is still a lot of work to be done, and particularly in the hospitality industry, and it's definitely a key focus for us in that respect on the marine waste management, and also a lot more insights on the marine ecosystems. So there is a lot of cultural activities with the local communities that we've doing, and again, they're all very educational. Our achievements, what we've done so far. On towards achievements, I'm specifically referring to sustainability here. I think we have been very successful in that respect on managing and protecting marine and coastal ecosystems where we are operating, and very much particularly towards coral rehab programs and propagation projects. So we've opened the MDC, what I just mentioned, in PP in 2018. As of 19, this is just a bit of numbers. We have more than 2,100 coral fragments nurtured, which might not see a lot, and particularly if you look at the other numbers on the clownfish, just referring to 44. Again, it's a small number, but if you talk to our marine biologist, it is actually quite an achievement just to do it, kind of breeding and releasing clownfish into the wild. So they're particular species in that respect that it's not as easy to release them and to protect them. But they're very proud, and it seems that's already kind of an achievement on the sustainability point of view. In PP, so far today, we've welcomed more than 2,200 visitors to the Marine Discovery Centre. So knowing PP where it is, it's isolated, it's on an island, so it's not that easy to get there, but it looks like people really want to come and see it and experience and understand a bit the story that we would like to tell to them. And at the end of the day, to take back a message, what they feel comfortable with and what they can contribute in the future as well. That's on the Thailand side. On the Maldives, we opened up our centers in 2019. So far, we've fragmented corals, about 200. Again, it's a lot of work, and again, I could see it every time I go to the Maldives and talk to our marine biologists. It's labor intensive, and it's a high commitment from them, even though we are talking about small numbers. But for them, every single number, 1, 2, 5, and it works, it's an achievement for them. And they're so proud of it. And I guess us in the private sector and in the hospitality, we have to recognize these efforts. That small little things, it adds up, and one day it will become a big thing, for sure. Our centers in the Maldives, so far, we welcomed more than 16,000 visitors since we opened them. This was only opened up in September last year to welcome our guests, and then post-COVID, pre-COVID actually, when we closed down from March. So in that short window of only a couple of months, we've had quite significant interest into the center. There's a lot of wildlife as well, not only in the Maldives and in PP, but I guess that's what we're very happy and proud of it as well, that wildlife has been restoring itself nicely. And we can see that in all the resorts that we have been operating in, taking that opportunity at the same time. If there's a downturn in business, however, it's a great opportunity to work on your sustainability efforts, which we've done so far for the last couple of months. So there's kind of rare species that we've been seeing in the Maldives, olive riddle sea turtles. We've seen pots of dolphins, which normally you would not easily find them and see them in that close proximity of your resorts, but that's definitely what we feel as well an achievement of our sustainability efforts for the past couple of months that we've been doing. So that's the next slide, gives a bit of the references, just as a bit of a summary. When we started, there was a lot of talk of single-use plastic, etc., for the last probably 2 years, that it has been 2.5 years. But I guess we've been pioneering a lot more further out than where we started in 2016 with our activities, particularly on PP. 2017, there was already heavy focus on plastic reductions in our whole resorts. And again, it was really about single-use plastic and minimize the use of plastic and nurturing that throughout the properties. That goes all the way from senior management all the way to our frontline employees, that they understand as well and share. So they can share with their colleagues, but at the same time share with our guests and also with friends and families. 2018, we built up the Marine Discovery Centres. 2019, last year, which was a great reward and a recognition for Santubri Resort. It was recognized as a carbon neutral resort. And also all our resorts globally, we converted into banning single-use plastic throughout the whole portfolio. So 2020, we're working on carbon offset programs. And that's definitely the way we wanted to continue focusing on moving forward. We've also, for PP, we've certified by the TGO for Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization for all the efforts that we've been putting in place for 2020. So where we see ourselves, our future directions, and again, leaning very much towards Maggie's introduction of that you need to be very committed. Sustainability is not short-term. It is very much a long-term strategy. It is a long-term project whereby we really need to inform our guests and the local communities as well to conserve and nurture the environment for future generations. So any activities that we are driving, it is geared towards that. It's not only in the next couple of weeks, but we're thinking ahead 4 years, 10 years from now, what we can do. We are operating in we can call it sustainable, sensitive environments very often, and we need to work with that. It's not about the environment itself, but also with the communities, that they're understanding as well what is their future for their future generations, and how we can share with them and share the experiences that we've done so far. We will continue pursuing sustainability initiatives and edutainment with an edutainment approach. This is a bit of the buzzword that we like to use in the company. Edutainment, meaning we try to keep it quite gentle, easy to understand, and that goes for families, for children, but also for adults. So if you are kind of a novel into the sustainability, not an industry, but in the sustainability way of living and how we should behave and act, we're trying to make it as easy, understandable, and accessible that at least that they can take back some key words or buzzwords to be back home, and that they can implement it into their environment. Apart from the SDG 14, the life below water, we also emphasize on cultures and community, and that's very much to conduct more community-oriented activities, what I mentioned. And I would say the MDC model, that what we've done, it really opened up a pipeline for modeling and to deploy more of these centers into our resorts. And presently we are working to have one set up next year in Samui at the same time. So that would give us a bit, Eric, what I would say on a bit of probably some examples, what we have been doing and participating on the industry towards sustainability, and make it kind of, as I said, edutainment, and make it accessible and understandable for our guests, that they see a bit what we are doing and continue doing this for the long term. To conclude, there was one sentence that I picked up from Maggie's presentation, which I really liked, is we are eating, drinking, and breathing plastic. Now, us being in a hospitality business, we doing rooms, food and beverage, and so on. I guess it's a great tagline for us to memorize that a bit, that whatever we're doing in our businesses and industry, that definitely plastic, it is a word that not haunts us, but it stays close to us, but we really have to minimize it or trying to avoid it, and using the creative sides of us as business people and operators to come up with alternatives and to safeguard the environment for future generations ahead of us. So thank you for that, Eric. Sorry, Eric, I don't hear you.
I was just testing to make sure we're paying attention. That's why I was keep forgetting to unmute myself.
All right, I got it. Back on.
Thank you very much, and this is great. I have a couple of questions from the audience, and then we have, if you have a few more minutes for us.
Yeah, sure.
Question was, what were the issues that you were addressing that made you get into coral propagation and clownfish breeding in the first place? Or what was the backstory and why you chose those initiatives?
Yeah, I guess the last couple of years there was a lot of coral bleaching going on globally, and it was a kind of a global topic. But also where we are operating, and particularly PP, it's a prime example. It's one of these destinations and locations where people want to go and see towards corals. So we thought it's a right angle. We connected.
Oh. We disconnected. So we'll give it a couple more minutes, I think, in the transition there between the screen and the presentation.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back here. So don't know where I was cut off, Eric, but I was just saying that from the corals, I think where we've been operating, it's very sensitive environments where there was a lot of issues towards corals as well. And I'm referring to PP, Maldives, Fiji we're doing as well, and Mauritius. So hence we thought, if we start off with something, probably that would be a key focus. It seems to be a global issue. It's a global problem that needs to be tackled, and that's what we felt comfortable to start off with it. But we're not only doing the corals, so it's also the marine life that surrounds it. And as you know, the coral fish, I mean, we're becoming all kind of experts in one way on the sustainability, even though we haven't been trained and so on, but we need to understand as well how it all works. Clownfish, they're kind of one-on-one with the corals. So that's why we built up that chain and developed it, and we extending it as long as we go, and include as well the communities, the local and communities. So if they go fishing, if they take out their long-tail boats, etc., be cautious, be careful. You have your corals and you have to protect it all. So it means the coral world itself, there is kind of a shell that is built around it. What we thought it's the right approach for us as a company to do it.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. And I think to dovetail that, one of the underlying things that we've seen over the past few years is there's research empirically that says travelers are looking for more green experiences. They want green accommodations, green lodging, green experiences, but there's actually a gap between the demand and the supply of being able to find that kind of content. So that's actually coming now with more experience of people understanding from the hotel business, what can I give to influence and impact the guest experience? Now, in your case, obviously this is much different because we're talking resorts in nature and it's very same, but would you say over your past few years career that there's been an interest not just in the I want to be in natural environment, but in the actual content and context around preservation? Has there been more guest travel interest in that you've seen? And how does that relate to what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're not doing corporate hotels or city hotels in our business model, but definitely it is a key focus. Business travelers, leisure travels, everybody becomes more sensitive to it than wherever I spend a few dollars on my hotel room or on F&B. People do want to know if there's a kind of a return that you're going to give back on your sustainability elements or on your programs. For sure, there is a strong drive. And I guess as well, younger generations, we are millennials, Generation X, Generation Y, they are more sensitive into that respect, and they want to know your stories. What do you have to tell them? And clearly, they will do research on you. What are you doing on sustainability projects? So if you don't get your real act together on that one, on the sustainability point of view, you might be missing out opportunities that they will not book you or they will not stay with you. So indeed, it's not only for resorts. You're right. Resorts is easy because you're physically there and you can see it and you can experience itself. But wherever it is, if it's in kind of an urban environment, it is still very important to have that factor or giving that message out to your consumers and to your guests. What are you doing towards sustainability efforts? And share as much as you can. We've done a lot on our platforms with our properties. So we've subscribed a lot. We do a lot of edutainment for our employees and because we 100% believe in it. And definitely that's what we get from our guests as well, that they want to know a bit what's going on, particularly what I mentioned on the Marine Discovery Centres. They ask us, so is there anything new initiatives that you're doing? Questions I am in other countries, what can you suggest that we should do? So it becomes a highly interactive platform with your guests at the same time, and not only selling your rooms and your restaurants and your great food that you have, but it's a different angle in that perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And the edutainment, I mean, that's the key, right? So this is what we call it: eco-edutainment, green edutainment, purposeful edutainment, something like that. I think that's the people want more content, want more interest now. Are you able to share and publicly disclose your coral propagation results? You have a question on that? Or once they're available?
Coral propagation towards numbers. Yeah, I mean, we shared a bit in the presentation. So on the numbers of it, it's about, there's a lot of information that you can find on our website. If you go to S Hotels and Resorts, so we're disclosing all that information and the numbers that everybody's in the audience is looking for. But as I said, we're very proud of it. We have more than 200 species in different resorts. The clownfish, what I mentioned, I mean, the 44 one, it's a small number, but it's big in that respect. And then on the Maldives as well. So there is one component being successful on your sustainability elements that you're doing. However, for us, it's also equally important towards the reach to our guests. How many people and our guests are taking our messages back home? And that's what we call and clearly see on the thousands of people that have been visiting our centers. They want to know. So even though physically the efforts that we are doing, and what we sincerely hope is whoever visited our centers, they go back home and they contribute as well in one way or another to their sustainability efforts. It might be in their condos, might be in their house, might be in their own community, whatever it is. And I think that's our objective at the end of the day, that we want to reach out to a global audience, to a global guest profile, and whatever they can do, that will helps a lot. We do our part in the resorts, but we really want to hear as well from our guests what they have been contributing from their side.
Fantastic. Well, I don't think there's a better way to close with that than as the point of PHIST and the point of these masterclasses to build awareness, build education, and get people talking about it and looking for solutions they can then go look into. So appreciate, yes, the available. So please check out S Hotels and Resorts website for more information. We love hearing about this concept. We're looking forward to hearing about its advancement in the coming years. And yeah, thank you and congratulations. So as a pleasure as always.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everyone, for dialing in, and hopefully we had some positive messages for the audience. Wishing all of you a successful PHIST Day, and hope to see a lot of outcomes. And thanks for the organizers to put a wonderful event together. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.